70% of digital transformations fail to deliver their expected ROI. Not fail to execute. Fail to deliver value. Which means most enterprises are burning budget, burning time, and burning leadership credibility on initiatives that never cross the finish line. And the reason isn't technical. You inherit a mandate from the board. Modernize our infrastructure. Accelerate cloud adoption. Become data-driven. Sounds straightforward. But then you realize your organization is actually 3 different companies stitched together by acquisition. Your legacy systems talk to nothing. Your teams are siloed by function. Your data lives in 11 different places. And when you propose lifting and shifting everything to the cloud, you hit resistance from every angle. IT says the security risk is unacceptable. Finance says the cost is higher than staying on-premise. Operations says they'll lose control. And 6 months in, your flagship transformation initiative hasn't moved the needle on a single business metric. You've spent millions. You've disrupted teams, you've got nothing to show for it, except a sunk cost and a damaged reputation with the C-suite. This is what nobody tells you about digital transformation. Technology is only 5% of the problem. The remaining 95% is organizational, strategic, and financial. In this video, we're breaking down the 3 structural failures that sink most transformation programs. And we're giving you the framework that leading enterprises like Siemens and DBS Bank used to move from failure to sustainable competitive advantage. This isn't change management theory. This is the operational blueprint that separates the companies that modernize successfully from the ones that bleed cash and credibility. First failure. No clear business outcome attached to the technology decision. Here's what normally happens. IT proposes cloud migration. Finance approves it because it's cheaper than data center sprawl. Implementation teams build the plan. 18 months later, you've moved workloads to AWS or Azure. You've reduced headcount in your data center. And nobody can answer the fundamental question. What is the business now able to do that it couldn't before? According to Gartner's 2023 Cloud Strategy Report, 58% of organizations cite lack of clear business outcomes as the primary reason. Transformation initiatives underdeliver. The technology moved. The business didn't. Real example. A multinational financial services company spent $24 million migrating their transaction processing to a hybrid cloud architecture. They hit every technical milestone. But they never defined which business unit would own the cost savings, or how those savings would be reinvested. The infrastructure team was incentivized to reduce operational spend. The product team was incentivized to launch new features. Those incentives never aligned. 2 years post-migration, the company was spending almost the same amount on infrastructure, just in a different location. Application. Before any technology initiative gets greenlit, force your organization to answer this question in writing. What specific business capability will this technology unlock? And who is accountable for realizing it? Not IT. Not the vendor. Name the business unit leader. Name the metric. Name the timeline. If you can't articulate that in one paragraph, the initiative isn't ready for deployment. Second failure. Organization structure doesn't match the new operating model. This is where organizational design and technology strategy collide. And most enterprises ignore it completely. When you move to cloud infrastructure, you're implicitly asking your organization to operate differently. Cloud platforms require real-time observability, continuous deployment, cross-functional collaboration, But if your organizational structure is still built on functional silos from 1995, your cloud infrastructure will fail because the people responsible for it are isolated from each other. McKinsey's 2022 research on digital transformation tracked 2,000 companies and found that organizations that realigned their structure to match their new technology capability had 3.5 times higher success rates. 3.5 times. Not 3% higher. 3.5 times. But here's what's wild. 82% of the companies in that study did not restructure. Take a mid-market healthcare organization. They invested $7 million in a data platform so clinicians could access patient records in real time. Technically sound. But their data engineering team reported to IT. Their analytics team reported to finance. Their clinical operations team reported to the chief medical officer. Nobody owned the end-to-end data flow. 3 years in, clinicians still couldn't get timely access to the insights they needed because the organizational structure created friction at every handoff. Application. Map your new technology operating model. First, define the capabilities you need. Who owns data quality? Who owns security? Who owns the user experience? Then restructure to place those accountability lines in the same chain of command. If you can't draw a straight line from the business outcome to the person accountable, your structure is wrong. Third, failure. You're optimizing for the wrong financial model. Most enterprises treat digital transformation like a capital project with a defined start and end. You spend money for 3 years. You flip a switch. And the initiative is done. Cloud platforms don't work that way. They're operational expenses. They require continuous investment in learning, in optimization, in security maturity. If your finance team is still evaluating success as a cost reduction play, you're already on the path to failure. Forrester's 2023 research on cloud ROI found that enterprises spending less than 3% of their annual IT budget on cloud skills development and organizational change experience cloud cost overruns averaging 41%. They're paying more, not less, because the organization can't optimize the infrastructure they've built. Real example. A Fortune 500 manufacturer budgeted 18 months for their hybrid cloud migration. They got the infrastructure built, but they never budgeted for cloud optimization. Nobody was trained on cost governance. Nobody was setting up automated resource scaling. Nobody was retiring redundant workloads. 18 months became 5 years of continuously increasing cloud bills because the company was treating the infrastructure like a light switch when it actually required ongoing operational discipline. Application. Build a 3-year financial model for any modernization initiative that allocates at least 20% of total budget to organizational change, skills development, and continuous optimization. The infrastructure cost is real, but it's half the story. The other half is whether your people can actually operate it efficiently. If you're not funding that explicitly, you're setting yourself up for cost overruns and capability gaps. When you get this right, the transformation feels fundamentally different. Your organization isn't implementing technology. Your organization is redesigning itself around a new capability. Cloud infrastructure becomes the platform. But the real value comes from what your teams can now do faster. With better data. With less bureaucracy. You move from wondering whether digital transformation is worth it to wondering how you ever functioned without it. Leaders at companies like Siemens and DBS Bank didn't reach that point by accident. They got there because they made the organizational changes first. Aligned their financial models to support continuous improvement. and kept a relentless focus on business outcomes rather than technical milestones. That's when transformation stops being a project and becomes a competitive advantage. If your organization is in the middle of a transformation initiative right now, the decisions you make in the next 90 days will determine whether this succeeds or becomes another sunk cost. We've built a diagnostic framework that helps you identify which of these 3 failure modes is most likely to impact your initiative. Subscribe to Apex Minds so you get that framework in your inbox this week. And comment below. Which one of these is keeping you up at night? The lack of business outcomes, the organizational misalignment, or the financial model? Your honest answer is exactly where you need to start. In our next video, we're breaking down the specific playbook that high-performing enterprises use to run parallel migrations without disrupting operations. That's the difference between a 2-year transformation and a 5-year one. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If these insights resonated with you, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J and hit the notification bell so you never miss our weekly content. Share this video with a colleague who needs to hear it. We will see you in the next one. Keep pushing forward. Thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J for more powerful insights. See you in the next one.